All right, next question. Hannah reads at a constant rate of 3 pages every 8 minutes. Good for her. Write an equation that shows the relationship between P, the number of pages she reads, and M, the number of minutes. So she reads 8 every 3 minutes. So how much does she read per minute? So she reads 3 pages in 8 minutes. So this means she reads 3/8 of a page per minute. 3/8 of a page per minute. Write an equation that shows the relationship between P, the number of pages she reads, and minutes. So how many pages does she read? Pages is going to be 3/8 times the number of minutes. She reads 3/8 of a page per minute. Is each number prime or composite? Oh my gosh. So are there factors that will get you to 10? Yes. So I'm going to say that's composite because you can do 5 and 2. 41. There are no two numbers you can multiply to get 41 other than 41 and 1. 86. There are factors of 86, like 43 times 2 will work. If the only way to get there is the number times itself, that would make it prime. Which expressions are equivalent to -7 plus 3 times -4e minus 3? So we're going back to the PEMDAS here. PEMDAS. So the parentheses and the exponents would be happening first. In these parentheses, you cannot combine -4e and -3. They're not like terms. So this, there's nothing to do here with these parentheses. The multiplication and division can happen next. So I'm going to multiply, I'm going to distribute this 3. So I'm going to have -7. The 3 times -4e is -12e. And 3 times -3 is -9. So what I'm going to end with here is -12e. And then the -7 and the -9 is -16. So I have -12e minus 16. So I'm going to look at my answers here. I think this one's going to match it. -4 times 3e is -12e. And then -4 times +4 is -16. So these come out to the same thing. So I think I'm going to like A. B is just 12e. It's missing the -16. All right, this says a pink crayon is made with 12 milliliters of red wax for every 5 milliliters of white wax. Which of the following wax mixtures will create the same shade of pink? So the pink, it's made with a ratio of red to white. It's 12 to 5. 12 to 5 red to white. So if you're going to have red and white, you're going to want your red to be 2.4 times the white. So red equals 2.4 times white. The way I got that is I'm taking these two numbers. How would I figure out the ratio? How do I figure out the red? Well, it's 2.4 times 5. Like if you double it in your head, you get to 10, and then 2 is 40% of 5. So if you take 5 and multiply it by 2.4, you'll get 12. This should be the ratio of red to white. It's like a 2.4 ratio. If you have white, you're going to need 2.4 times as much red. So let's see which of these, there's 2 of them that have that same ratio, 2.4. So the white needs to be smaller. A is doing a good ratio, 10 to 24, but it has more whites. That's not right. You want less white. You can see here, if you have 5 white, you have 12 red. So you want less white. So it's not going to be A. This says 48 of red with 12 white. So the red is outnumbering the white by a factor of 4. It's 4 times the white. That's too much. We want 2.4 times. So it's not B. So it's going to be 2 of C, D, and E. So 13 red, 6 whites. So if I take the white is 6, I'm going to multiply that by 2.4. So if I do 6 times 2.4, 6 times 2.4, that gives me 14.4. So I don't like C either. I'm going to say by process of elimination, it should be D and E. But the way we can check this is you can do the white times 2.4. So it'd be 15 times 2.4. And you're going to hope that gives you 36. Yes. And then 25 times 2.4. And you're going to hope that gives you 60, which it does. So D and E. It says the double number line shows that 4 bottles of water Cost $10 at a music festival. Oh my gosh. Based on the ratio in the double number line, how much does 3 bottles of water cost? We can figure out the cost per bottle. It's $10, but we're going to divide that between 4 bottles, right? Because that was the cost of 4 bottles. So per bottle, 10 divided by 4 is $2.50. So it's $2.50 per bottle. And you're going to buy 3 bottles. So that's going to run you $7.50. It says an electric company charges a certain rate per kilowatt hour of electricity and uses an administrative fee of $3.50. The company charges out $63.25 for using 800 kilowatts. So the equation actually does a lot for us because the $63.25 is the total cost. That's going to be your initial fee of $3.50 plus 8. Like you use 800 kilowatt hours and you're multiplying this by the rate per hour. So R represents the rate per hour. It says, what does the variable R represent? It's the rate per hour of kilowatt energy. So it's like, how much did it cost per hour? So it says number of kilowatt hours. No, it's not the per hour. It is the charge per kilowatt hour. All right. This question says the tape diagram represents an equation. And I think it's saying that 16 is equal to 4y's. So these 4y's together give you 16. So I like B there. So it's like y plus y plus y plus y, but you can also write that as 4y. So that's got to be 16. So the value of y would be 4. Because if you break this up, if you break 16 up into 4 even pieces, each piece has to be 4. 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. That's going to give you the 16. So we'll say 4. All right, it says find the equation of the line. Okay, so it's giving us slope-intercept form. So it's y equals mx plus b. The y-intercept is the easiest to find. It is down here at -6. So I'm going to put, that's my b. So here it's -6, my y-intercept. And now the next thing would be my slope. So if I'm going to find the slope, it's the change in y divided by the change in x. Change in y divided by change in x. So like if I started the -6, let's pick another point, this one here. So how steep is this? How shallow is this? That's what the slope is telling us. So the change in y, if I go from here to here, but the trick is I can only go up or down, or I can only go left and right. So I'm going to go down first. I'd go down 1. So my change in y is -1. My change in x is actually positive 1, 2, 3, 4. Positive 4. So our slope is -1 over positive 4. -1, positive 4. You could also go positive 1, -4, and it would still come out to -1/4. That's our slope. It's a negative slope. It is shallow. It's a slope of -1/4. This question says, Brandon and Jerry like to play video games. Brandon has V video games. Brandon has V video games. And Jerry has 29 video games. Together, they have 73. So I think that Jerry's games of the 29 plus Brandon's games of the V are going to give you a total of 73. So we could solve for Brandon's games, but we don't have to because it's asking for an equation to describe the situation. So 29 plus V equals 73. Asking, we have a graph, and it says Carl set out to Alaska in his truck. The amount of fuel remaining in liters is a function of the distance. So as he's driving 200, 400, 600, 800 plus kilometers, he's losing fuel. He starts with 500 liters of fuel, and it's asking how fast did the truck consume fuel. All right, so after 200 kilometers, it is kind of here. It's like in between. I don't know the exact number, so maybe I'll try 400. That's all right. 600, 800. So what I'm going to do is give kind of my best guesstimate here. So we'll say 600, and we'll say that it's just under 150. So let's say 140, for example. So when we start out, we have traveled 0 distance, and we have 500 liters of fuel. But this line changes. So if I'm thinking change in y, like the last one, over change in x, if I go from this point to this point, how far down do I have to go? So it's going down. I go to 140. So it's the difference between 500 and 140, which is 360. So it goes down 360. So it's a negative 360 divided by, and the x is 600. So I'm going to get a number that's roughly, it's going to be slightly over a half-ish. So let's do this in our calculator. So we got, it's going to be negative 360 divided by 600. It's going to be negative 0.6. So I'm losing 0.6 liters of fuel per kilometer. So I think that answer is here, 0.6 liters per kilometer. It says express your answer in scientific notation. What I'm going to do is just kind of like multiply this out and then see what I get. So 10 to the fifth power is 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. You may as well just use a calculator on this. Let's see, 10 to the fifth is 100,000. So we have 6.4. And I think I should have known that because the 5 is telling you how many zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. So it's 6.4 times 100,000. That's 640,000. And this is plus 36,000. So together, that is 676,000. If I'm going to do this in scientific notation, so I'm going to multiply something times 10 to an exponent, I'm going to do, so like I'm going to convert this. Instead of 676,000, I'm going to put the decimal here, and I would need to multiply it by 10 to the first, to the second, to the third, to the fourth, to the fifth. So it's going to be 6.76, all the non-zero numbers I have, times 10 to the fifth. So that's going to be 6.76 times 100,000. So it's going to give us 676,000. There might be some like tricks and hacks to do that easier. And you can feel free to look into those. This is how I would do it. 6 times 10 raised to the fifth. So that looks scientific to me. This says in the following pattern, every group of rectangles has one more rectangle than the group before it. And there's a rhombus before every group. So this is the first pattern. It's rhombus rectangle. And then it's rhombus double rectangle. Then it's rhombus triple rectangle. Then it's going to be rhombus quadruple rectangle. So it's going to be 11, 12, 13, and 14. This will be our quadruple rectangles. Rectangle, rectangle. You get a rectangle. You get a rectangle. The next shape would be the rhombus. And that would be the 15th shape. And I believe it asks, which of the following statements are true? The 15th shape is a rectangle. Well, we know that's not true. We know it's a rhombus. The next group will have 4 rectangles. And I think that is what it's saying. It's like that group that I just made has 4 rectangles. Every rhombus is odd numbered. You can see from the pattern that that's not true. You have a rhombus here at 6. So there's one example of an even rhombus. Here are 2 examples of an even rhombus, 6 and 10. So I like B as our only, certifiably true answer. All right, this one says mu is walking laps to raise money for charity. For each lap she walks, her sponsors will donate $7. Mu has walked L laps and raised a total of $105. Okay, so you're getting $7 per lap, called 7L. Altogether, that has given you 105 now. So you've gotten 7 per lap and you've made 105. So $7 per lap is what you're making. You have made $105. This will let you solve for L by dividing 105 by 7. So it's going to be 105 divided by 7, 15. So Mu has walked 15 laps, $7 per lap, total of $105. All right, this says, what percent is represented by the shaded area? So I think it's important to know that each big square below represents one whole. So this blue is 100%. So this represents 100% plus whatever percent of 100 this is. So like if this is in tens, and it looks like it is, this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 1, 2, 3. So it's 100% plus 73%. So I think it's going to like the answer 173%. It's one whole plus another 73%. Very nice. Last question. We got this. Tape diagram shows that there are 155 poems in a collection. Complete the table to show the different percentages of poems. So the whole group of poems is 155. So 155 poems, and that's what it's asking here, represents 100% of the collection. 31 poems, what percent of 155 is that? I would just have to do 31 divided by 155. That's 0.2. 0.2 as a percent is 20%. 186 divided by 155 is 186 divided by 155. 1.2 as a percent, that's 120%. There we go. We got our answers. And that's it. All right, have fun with this and hope it helps.